All right, everyone, get ready because we are diving deep today.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is. Today we're tackling texting, but like relationship texting.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah, you know that thing where like they always text back,
Uh,
but they never text first.
oh, yeah.
So we found this article, and the title is so dramatic.
Lay it on me.
Uncovering the Truth. 12 reasons she doesn't text first, but responds when you do.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Right.
And a little intense, don't you think?
Maybe just a tad,
Okay.
but we've all been there.
Oh, for sure. Like, I've definitely seen this play out.
Yeah, and it's so confusing.
Totally. And it's not just a she thing either.
Right.
Anyone can be the one who never texts first.
Totally. So, listeners, if this is you, if you're in this situation,
Always texting first and wondering what's up.
we're here to help you figure it out.
The article breaks down 12 reasons why this might happen.
12. Okay, so like a whole dozen.
Exactly.
Well, what are like the most common ones?
So fear of rejection is a big one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then there's like shyness or just being super busy.
Right, like life gets in the way.
Exactly. Sometimes it's a lack of confidence.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe they're just kind of waiting for the other person to make a move.
Oh, playing it cool, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
So, you mentioned fear of rejection, and I think
That-
that's something a lot of people can relate to.
For sure.
Have you ever hesitated to text first because you didn't want to seem too eager or get rejected?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
it can be super scary.
Totally. It's like you're putting your heart on the line.
Exactly. And the thing is, psychologically,
Mhm.
there's this whole vulnerability thing with initiating contact.
Really? So our brains are freaking out over a text.
Well, kind of.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
There was this study, they found that waiting for a reply,
Mm-hmm.
it triggers the same part of the brain that lights up with physical pain. Yeah, it's like our brains don't know the difference between a text and a stubbed toe.
That is wild.
So yeah, we're wired to be sensitive to this stuff.
Okay, so our brains are drama queens. Got it.
Pretty much.
But seriously, that makes so much sense why we overthink texting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we've talked about why someone might not text first.
Mhm.
But what about the person who's always initiating? How does that affect them?
The article talked about that too.
Yeah.
It can really mess with your head,
Self-doubt, that kind of thing.
Exactly. You start wondering if they're even into you at all.
Ouch, yeah, I can see how that would be painful.
It can be a real downer.
Yeah, and it can create this cycle where you're constantly putting in the effort.
Right. And then you start to resent it,
Totally. It's
Yeah.
am I the only one who cares about this connection?
Exactly. And that's where things can start to unravel.
Right. It's not just about the texting anymore, it's about the whole relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy to spot, at first.
Right.
Right.
It might seem subtle.
Totally. But the article gave this example, remember? Alex and Sarah.
Oh yeah, Alex and Sarah.
It was the perfect illustration of this.
Totally. Poor Alex.
Right.
Always texting first, making plans, trying to, keep things going.
Yeah, carrying the whole conversation.
And Sarah would respond, but never really initiate.
Ugh. I feel like so many people have been in Alex's shoes.
Oh, absolutely.
It's you start questioning if they even want to talk to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to Alex.
Yes, the article said it caused a ton of resentment.
Oh, yeah, it really messed things up for them.
So, how do you fix this?
Well, communication, that's the key.
Okay, but how do you even bring it up?
It's going to feel a little awkward,
Probably.
but you've got to be honest.
So, tell them how you feel.
Exactly. Hey, I've noticed I'm always the one texting first,
Okay, so just do direct.
but in a nice way, of course.
Right. Don't want to start a fight.
Exactly. The article had some good phrases yeah, what were those?
Something it would mean a lot to me if you initiated sometimes too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Or, I really enjoy our conversations, and it would make me feel even more connected if we both took turns reaching out.
Okay, so emphasizing that you want it to be more balanced.
Exactly.
I like that.
And remember, it's a two-way street.
Oh, right. You have to listen to them too.
Exactly. Maybe they're just not great at texting.
Yeah, or maybe they haven't even realized it's a thing.
Exactly.
See, this is why communication is so important.
Couldn't agree more.
So we've talked about texting, but the article also mentioned this can be a pattern in other areas too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like what?
Who initiates plans, who calls first, that kind of thing.
Right, so it's not just about the texts themselves.
It's about the overall dynamic.
And who's putting in the effort.
Exactly. And that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, because it's not always a 50-50 split.
Right.
But you should still feel good about it.
Right. Absolutely. If you're always the one pushing for everything, That's a red flag.
Okay, so pay attention to those patterns.
Exactly. Are you comfortable with the dynamic? Do you feel valued?
Those are good questions to ask yourself.
And that's where things like attachment styles and love languages come in.
Oh yeah, the article mentioned those.
It can be really helpful to understand those concepts.
So like a crash course for our listeners.
Okay, so attachment styles, basically it's how we approach relationships.
Right. Like, are you more independent or more clingy?
That's a simplified way to put it, but yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So someone who's more avoidant might not text first because they need their space.
Makes sense.
And someone who's more anxious might be texting all the time because they need reassurance.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that.
And then love languages.
Those are about how you show love, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like some people love words of affirmation.
Right, so they might send lots of sweet texts.
Exactly. While others might prefer acts of service.
So maybe they're not big texters, but they always do thoughtful things for you.
Exactly. And understanding each other's love languages can make a huge difference.
Totally. It's like a whole new way to look at communication.
It really is.
This is so insightful. I love that. It's like,
Yeah.
instead of getting all stressed about it,
Right.
you can actually learn something.
Exactly. It's a chance to grow, both individually and as a couple.
So true.
Mhm.
So instead of asking, why don't they text first? Maybe we should be asking,
What can I learn from this?
yes. Like, what does this tell me about our communication styles?
Exactly.
Okay, so as we wrap up this texting deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to remember
Yeah.
texting is just one part of communication.
Right, it's not the whole story.
Exactly. Don't get too hung up on the texting itself.
So zoom out a little.
Yeah. Look at the bigger picture of your relationship.
How you interact in person, all
Yeah,
that. And if you're feeling like, ugh, this texting thing is just not working, talk about it.
Yes. Communication is key.
Always.
Be honest about how you're feeling.
And use those I statements.
Oh, yeah, those are super helpful.
It's like, I feel this way when.
Exactly. That way it's not blaming or accusatory.
Right, right.
And remember, sometimes it really is just a personality thing.
Okay, so not every unanswered text is a sign of the apocalypse.
Exactly. Some people are just not big texters.
Or maybe they're just busy.
Could be.
The important thing is that you feel good about the overall dynamic.
Absolutely. Do you feel respected? Do you feel valued?
Yeah, that's what matters.
And if you're still struggling to understand those differences,
Yeah.
check out those resources on attachment styles and love languages.
Oh yeah, that's a gold mine of information.
It can really help you figure out, like, why you communicate the way you do.
And why your partner communicates the way they do.
Exactly. It's all about understanding each other better.
I love that.
Me too.
All right, any final words of wisdom before we sign off?
Just remember, relationships are a journey.
Ooh, I like that.
It's not about being perfect, it's about growing together.
So well said.
Communication is key.
Always, always, always.
And have a little patience. Things will work out.
I love that positive note.
Me too.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this texting adventure.
It's been fun.
It has. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the wild world of relationships.